Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Crafty Gamer Geek. I'm your host, the Crafty Gamer Phelan. Now, last time we talked about locations and the 4 primary locations where you can host your game at. That's your local gaming store, your bookstore/library, the great outdoors, or my personal preference is a private residence. So now that you've decided upon which location you're going to gather at, you also have to decide on your table as well as mapping systems that you'll be using. That's the 2 topics that we're going to be covering today. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is research the table that you're going to use. So, I personally would love to use one of these tables off of Geek, but the price is about $15,000 for one. While it has all the features and everything else that you could ever possibly want in a gaming table, at Crafty Gamer Geek, we're going to dumb it down a little bit. Okay, so like I mentioned last time, my favorite location is a private residence. Now, the wonderful thing about a private residence is you can set it up entirely how you want to. And in a private residence, your first consideration is always the space you have available. That's actually your first consideration in any place that you go to. What space do they have available for me? Your second consideration is the table itself. Now, you want something that works with the space that you have available. You don't want anything too long, anything too wide, and remember that you're actually only going to be gaming on that maybe once or twice a week tops. So the rest of the time, that table is going to take up a lot of space. Now, a table like we have here at Crafty Gamer Geek, now this table folds up even smaller than you currently see. It gives plenty of room for my little one to run around and do all the fun stuff he wants to do throughout the day. But it also folds out to a much larger table and gives all my gamers plenty of room. Now, there's 2 things to consider on a gaming table, the length and the width. Now, the length of the table is how many people you're going to accommodate. The width of the table is also important because of all the stuff that you're going to put in the middle of your gaming table. And at your gaming table, there will be a lot of stuff. You got your books and your clipboards. Let's not forget about your character sheets and notepads. Don't forget a few index cards, maps, add a few pens and pencils to the mix, maybe some markers, and then we add some miniatures, your monsters. Don't forget about your gaming snacks, a couple of sweets, plus you have to have dice, just a few, or a lot. And in today's world, you've got everything from cell phones to laptops and tablets to consider. Your table got rather full fast, didn't it? Alright, so now there's 2 other things that you're going to have to consider once you get your table. And that is whether you want to get a rounded table or a square table. I highly recommend that you get a square table, much like this one. This provides a little bit more room for both the elbows and for all the stuff we just talked about. One other way that you can accommodate a little bit more room for your gamers is side tables. Get a couple side tables. Now, this does take away from the number of players that you're going to have at the table, but if it provides your players with a little bit more room and comfort, does adding another player really matter that much more? Also, I recommend that you get some of these anti-slip mats for the side tables. This lets your gamers put down anything that they want to on the mats and prevents it from sliding around. Now, you can also use these whenever you do card games or board games to keep all the tiles and pieces in place so that way nothing goes anywhere. Works wonderful for Magic the Gathering. Okay, so now we've got our table all set up. We've put our chairs around. We have our side tables out. The next thing that we cover now is the maps. Now, there are 4 different types of maps that you can employ at your table. The first one that we're going to talk about is pre-generated maps. Now, Paizo puts out some of these great Game Mastery pre-generated maps. They're really highly detailed. It's really easy to just throw one on the table. You've got it all set up. Not as much work to do. There are a couple problems with these, though. One of the main problems is you can see it's really glossy. The second problem that you're going to run into is these permanent creases. They folded them up in the package, and they're never going to unfold. Now, while they are double-sided, and you got 2 maps, once you use both maps, you're kind of done. So I think we should probably try a different map. Okay, well, before there was Paizo, there was Wizards of the Coast, and they brought out all of their wonderful gaming tiles. Their gaming tiles are really nice because they're made of a really sturdy cardboard. They're gonna hold up, and they're double-sided, but you can arrange them how you want to, which takes away one of the limitations that Paizo puts on their pre-generated maps. These do have their limitations as well because you're only going to get the two sides, and you're going to have to sit and arrange them as you go along, and you're going to have to take a little extra time before the game or during the game to put these maps together. Now, definitely not something that you want to sidestep because I have about 3 boxes of these and they're great for portability. Again, I would use that anti-slip mat for your side on your side table underneath these, and these will keep these locked in position as your players put their minis upon them. So another option is your classic hex and grid map, the big double-sided vinyl map that almost every gamer probably has and every GM definitely should have. These are really good because you can just draw whatever map you want to, erase it, start all over again. The bad part is if you want to do an extensive map, you're going to have to draw out all the details, so your players are going to have pre-knowledge that they're probably going to use even though they don't mean to. Or you could go the other route and draw your map as you go along, but again, that's going to slow your game down a little bit. So the vinyl map is a really good map to have. Wet erase markers, a great way to color in your map, but again, I wanted a different type of map. Alright, so this is my favorite of all the options available out there for maps for your table. This is an electronic mapping system. It's powered by a computer and a projector. Simple enough. Let me show you how I set that up. Okay, so for this electronic mapping system, the first thing that you're going to need is a nice high-def short throw projector. We got this one for about $600 right now. It's running for about $400 after, inflation. Your second thing that you're going to want to consider for this is how you're going to mount it. Now, at first I did try mounting it on the table, which is a great option for portability, but for longevity it wasn't the best option for us because every time somebody bumped the table, it skewed the system. And when you have an actual interface that works off of the positioning of the map, it's going to throw things off a little bit. So what I went ahead and I did is I went and I bought this arm that's usually used for mounting TVs to the wall and went ahead and mounted the projector to the wall. Needed a little bit of fabrication, but it works out pretty well. Definitely going to want to make sure that you hit a stud whenever you do mount these into the wall because this is a lot of weight and an expensive piece of equipment that you're putting on the end of it. Alright, so this next part is just hooking up your computer that you're going to be using. Now, you can use an old computer tower or an old laptop that you might have laying around spare. Now, you want to make sure though that it does have a decent graphics card because that's going to be what all the detail is coming through on your table. And in that aspect as well, you can go with standard VGA, but it's not recommended. If you have the capability, definitely go with HDMI when you hook this system up. Now, if you want your table to have that little extra experience while you're doing it, make sure you get yourself a Bluetooth dongle that can hook up to a Wii remote, and you can do a little fun thing with a Wii remote and an IR pen to make your table interactive. Now, I did say that you can do presentations and PowerPoints on your thing, so look into investing into a PowerPoint presentator with a little laser so you can point at things as you're going along. This will make it really easy for you to flip through the slides. And one last thing to consider is the actual keyboard that you're going to be using. Now, a big clunky wireless keyboard is acceptable, but you might want to look into something a little bit smaller like a mini keyboard. Now, these are really nice because it's a 2-in-1. It's got your keyboard and your mouse, and you can easily pass it around the table. Okay, so now that we have it all set up and running, you can see all the details that I was telling you about. To make these maps, you can use JPEGs, or you can actually use a mapping software such as Map Tool or D20 Pro. Now, Map Tool is the one that I use because it's free and open source. The D20 Pro is bringing out a new system called their Ultimate system. I'm really excited about it, and I'm looking forward to doing a review on it once it's out. The other cool thing that you can do with this new electronic tabletop is you can do PowerPoints or show slides of different locations and faces of the people and NPCs that they encounter, so that way you can really bring that extra vivid nature of everything to life. Now, the detail on my table is a little wood grained because that's what it's being projected on, so we wanted to put down a surface so that way it would reflect a little bit better. So I just went out to Joann's and I picked up a nice piece of cloth material. This is the same type of material that you'll find in a picnic table. It's got that cotton back with a vinyl front, and it gives a nice reflective surface to really bring out all of those little intricacies that the electronic mapping system will do for you. Okay, everybody, so that was tables and maps. Hopefully you enjoyed the little do-it-yourself electronic mapping system that we were able to go over. My players really enjoy it. It's a nice little fun thing to do to just enhance that gaming experience. Next time, we're going to cover props that can be used on any of the maps that we talked about today. Now, these props will further enhance that gaming experience and really allow your players to submerge themselves in the gaming world that you're creating. So, until next time, remember that it always starts with an idea. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share this video. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that we've covered, you can always reach me at thecraftygamergeek@gmail.com. Until next time, guys, keep gaming.